But moving on, Connor, away from movies and then back to video games here. We are going into our third topic of the day. My second penny. Multiple companies partner with the ESA to launch the Accessible Games Initiative. Remember, you can read all of our articles that we read on the show over at twopennygames.substack.com. Connor Elliott himself, right here, this guy, writes them every week. So go ahead, subscribe to our Substack, twopennygamesnews.substack.com. Link is in the description down below. The Entertainment Software Association partners with Nintendo of America, Microsoft, Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, and Google to establish the Accessible Games Initiative, AGI, a program focused on informing players of accessibility features in video games. Quote, tens of millions of Americans have a disability and often face barriers to experiencing the joy and connection that comes with playing video games, says ESA CEO and President Stanley Pierre Louis. Quote, we are immensely proud to announce the Accessible Games Initiative in partnership with industry leaders. The initiative demonstrates how impactful we can be when we work together in our industry-wide pursuit of helping more people experience the power of play. The ESA, the progenitors of E3, unveiled their initiative at the Game Developers Conference, GDC, excuse me. This part... Let me take that one from the top. The ESA, the progenitors of E3, unveiled their initiative at the Game Developers Conference this past week following its conception by the previously listed founding companies, in addition to Sony Interactive Entertainment, with companies like Riot Games, Warner Bros. Games, Amazon Games, and Square Enix pledging support for the program. The initiative will launch with 24 tags that designate what accessibility features a game contains, with the tags separated under 4 categories: auditory, gameplay, input, and visual features. Examples of the tags include playable without touch controls, chat, speech-to-text, and text-to-speech, save anytime, and narrated menus, to name a few. The tags will be listed on game product pages, digital storefronts, and digital catalogs, with other key facts such as the method and how tags were decided upon. Now, you got a bunch of other key facts here, Connor. Is it worth reading through these? Or should they go ahead and go to our Substack page themselves to go check out for more information?
Yeah, you know what? Do that.
Go do that. There we go. Now, this is great.
One of the things I will mention, yeah, it is great. They would also, I can't believe I forgot to do that. They would also put like a stamp on games if they're like part of this initiative. So it's another way to tell when but like you said, great. You know, it's been a long time coming that something like this hasn't been around. But of course, we've only seen a lot of innovations in accessibility happen past 5 years or so.
Yeah.
That's a good number to go with.
Last of Us Part 2 is the big push.
Yes. And so these things aren't hard, you know. Clearly it's simple.
They require work.
Well, no, I mean, no, like this in particular. Obviously, accessibilities do, but what this is doing with notifying people of what disability features are in the game, you know, do you need to do an initiative to do that? I wouldn't think so, but clearly it helps get everybody on board. And this was just unveiled recently, and I feel like a lot of other games will join on to it, since why not? You know,
well, they got all the major publisher players in this, right? So, you know, it makes sense that pretty much every AAA game that comes out till the end of time is gonna be a part of this initiative, and you know, you'll be able to see all of these great things on your storefront. More information for more players who are maybe looking for these things. They don't have to dive into different forums. They don't have to go to their favorite content creators. It's just right there on the front page, something that they can easily access. That's fantastic. I think it also unifies the conversation around accessibility. And it allows us to create a definitive language about accessibility, in the sense of like, these are the standards of what you should do if you when you put accessibility options in your games, which is always great. I'm sure it's very annoying for disabled players to jump from one game to the next and be like, all right, well, Marvel Rivals has this function for color blindness, but it works a little differently than how it works in Dragon Age, the Veilguard, which works a little differently than it works in Ghost of Tsushima, which works differently than how it works in Watch Dogs Legion, so on and so forth. And those options you just keep pulling. pulling along, you know? And so to sort of like unify this, let's share all of our information, let's pool all of our things. This is to me, this is the new generation's version of the creation of the ESRB, of like, we are standardizing what it means to have accessibility features in our game. These are the building blocks of that. This is us getting serious about that. This is us saying, hey, on every game, we should, just like how we did with different age ratings with the ESRB, on every game we should be like, hey, you got a problem? We have a way for you to solve it, you know? And depending on the severity of your disability, you're still going to have to do a select amount of research. But if it's a lower class disability, you just know that, hey, I'm colorblind, and does this game have colorblind features? Yes, it does. Okay, I'm probably going to be okay. You know, like
I imagine it must be a pain.
Right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 100%. Like auto aiming in shooters. There's no way that works the same way in every game, and maybe it still won't. But now I'll at least know a general idea of like, okay, they are part of this initiative. They've got this stamp of approval that you're talking about, Connor, on it. That means I can expect a certain level of quality in my accessibility options that I won't be able to see in games past.
And I was thinking of the implementation of a scale, since I'm assuming some of these things will have details hammered out as they get responses from people who make use of the service of the initiative. But as you were saying this entire time, despite the fact that a game might have accessibility features, they might not be all that great or be inferior to, maybe what the standard is for some other game. I'm not going to get too much in the weeds since I don't use disability features, so I can't know them off the top of my head. But maybe the idea of having a scale. It might be hard to implement it, especially because some of these companies want to advertise their accessibility features as being very high quality. But the fact of the matter is, there are some that are worse than others, and sometimes there might be bad accessibility features. And some kind of maybe color coding scale or number or grade that it's given will allow players to know, in addition to what features they're going to have, how effective those features are in this game when it's put up to some kind of industry-wide standard. Obviously, there's a lot of weird details that come into doing something like this, but when the entire initiative is planned on allowing for people who need these accessibility features to know not only what they are, but whether they're they actually work and they're backed up by the I have to remember the name now, the Accessible Games Initiative, because I'm assuming there might be standards that are also put up later on where if you're going to have an accessibility feature, it needs to be of a certain level of quality and not just be one just to make it, more marketable to somebody who, otherwise wouldn't be able to play most other games due to their disability. I'm reaching around with a lot of things because obviously the very core of this is to try and get people to play as many games as possible, despite whatever issues they might have. And there has to be other ways to facilitate even easier recognition of what features a game might have.
100%. Yeah. So this is exciting. I hope this takes off, and I hope they find a great success. And it's great to see the ESA continuing to work in game space and find a new path forward for themselves now that E3 is kind of dead and gone. And so yeah, this is the level of like hope that like I still have for this industry of like, okay, but we're still doing right by somebody.
Yes, and someone's doing the work, and they're doing it good.